Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is the Sultai Aluren-Tell deck that I was into a few months ago. And I'm choosing to play it now because some of the data from sources like MetaMage indicate that this deck, even though it has a low play rate, has a pretty high win rate still. There's a few pilots out there still putting up trophies every couple days. It was made the top 8 of the Oklahoma Land Run, which is a big tournament. This deck is still out there, and there are other flashy things that have taken the spotlight, but we're still out here, and I still like this deck in theory. This is an awkward situation for me in some ways because I have, this platform that many Legacy players view. I have a Patreon, which many Legacy players subscribe to. And before I go to tournaments like the upcoming Eternal weekend, I always post my deck. And a lot of those Patreon subscribers play what I post. And this mirror match sucks. Like, I would genuinely prefer if nobody in the world knew about this deck but me. But I'm in a spot where journalistic integrity or whatever it is demands that I keep putting a spotlight on it, even though I wish everyone else would forget it exists so I could play it. I know 2 of my Patreon and coaching people met in a last round win-in this Aluren-Tell mirror at the Legacy Cup in Vegas, at MagicCon Vegas. I apologize to both of them for, congrats on meeting in a last round win-in, but tough beats on having to play the mirror while you're there because you both happen to talk to me. I still think this deck is dope. There's a little bit of flexibility, like 2 Veil of Summer could be more, 4 Lotus Petal could be fewer, 4 Atraxa. Having 1 Emrakul in the list to hit when you're doing Omniscience stuff is something people are doing for a long time, and the current lists that are trophying are not doing that, even though I think it's reasonable. I've seen 3 or 4 Omnisciences in the list. This build has 2. The 4 Acererak has been pretty stock for a while now. The original lists were playing 1, and they were using Formidable Speaker to tie it all together, but it turned out just having more Aceraks was better. But I think there's probably build space you could play 2 or 3 if you wanted to focus on doing other stuff and still reasonably have it. I wouldn't play 1 anymore. I think those days are long gone. But the goal of this deck is to get Alluren into play and cast Acererak infinite times, and you go into the Lost Mine of Phandelver, which is not the Tomb of Annihilation, so you never solve the dungeon that Acererak wants you to solve, so it just keeps getting bounced forever, and one of the rooms in that dungeon drains your opponent for 1 life. And you just do that till they're dead. You can also do this with Omniscience, because Acererak costs 0 and you can cast it. It's a little different because you can't do it in instant speed, which means Acererak, each room of each dungeon has to resolve, and there is a dungeon room in the Lost Mine of Phandelver that draws a card. And if your opponent's life is greater than the number of cards in your deck, Acererak plus Omniscience might not actually kill them. But with Alluren, you can go off over top of the dungeon room triggers because you could go off at instant speed. So it is a little different, but for most intents and purposes, it's the same thing. And Atraxa, you could just ram this thing in off of Show and Tell. Show and Tell rams in Omniscience. You can cast Show and Tell on turn 2 or 3, threatening to put in Alluren, which if they counter the Show and Tell, you just cast the Alluren on the next turn and do the same thing. This is just a battle cruiser of a deck. It's singularly focused to get one of its engines into play and then win with it. I love a main deck Veil of Summer. Let's see how this holds up. Merlion Games is hosting one of the biggest Eternal events of the summer. August 22nd and 23rd in San Mateo, California is Breach the Bay 2, featuring a CEDH 25K, Legacy 3K, and Pre-Modern 3K with over $30,000 in cash prizes guaranteed. Breach the Bay also features a huge range of Magic artists, featuring multi-format staples like Oath of Druid, Tabernacle, Tamiyo, Sol Ring, Ponder, and more. If you need cards for the event, there will be vendors on site, or you can use Merlion.gg's deck buying tool. You're 1 copy and paste away from knowing exactly what cards they have for your deck. Make plans now to attend Breach the Bay 2, links in the video description. I'm on the draw in round 1. I am going to keep my hand. It has no protection, but I am mostly betting that I am the person causing problems, which might not be true now that we see the City of Traders. All right, Chalice, actually pretty annoying for my hand. I was hoping this ponder could find some goods. But if I draw a Omniscience, Alluren, or Atraxa, this show and tell goes nuts on turn 2 versus whatever this colorless Chalice of the Void deck is. And there it is. Okay. I'm just going to basic island pass and hope that I win the game. If they follow up with Thought Not Seer right now, it'll cost them a land. Trinisphere is a horrible card for me. And it really depends on what this deck even is. Chalice of the Void, not that popular these days. Oh, or some kind of black stompy deck. All right, well, still going to just do the thing. All right, this game is going to come down to if my opponent can put in something that is better than what I'm putting in. I don't care about that. Put in Alluren, and you're dead. Okay. My opponent would have to defeat a Serac at instant speed somehow. Okay, the Lost Mine of Phandelver is where I want to go. And I am not going to yield to the rooms themselves. I am going to yield to a Serac's trigger. This is how you execute this quickly. Goblin Tunnels or the treasure. It doesn't matter. Okay. Mine Tunnels. Do not yield to that. And this is what I mean by you can go off over the rooms. And then the Dark Pool is the one I need. I am going to yield to this because this is one I need to resolve. And then my opponent will just drain their life out in response to all the rest of these. And now it's just clicking. This doesn't take that long. And they realize it's Jover. Okay, we're against some kind of black stompy deck. Veil of Summer, presumably playable, versus the mono black deck. Force of Negation looks okay. There's lock pieces like that Chalice, like maybe Trinisphere, maybe Discard. These are the cards, type of things I have to worry about. Yeah, I'm going to do very little here to change my game. I could see Lotus Petal being questionable. I mostly just want all these cards. We saw Sheoldred, Barrowgoyf, Chalice of the Void, and Opposition Agent. Those were all of the spells we saw from the opponent. Brainstorm and Ponder are the weakest in terms of if we're playing against a Chalice of the Void or a Sheoldred or a Bowmaster, but those are also the things that make me win. I can win at 1 life. It doesn't matter if I take a little bit of damage from those things. I think I'm actually just going to bring in Force of Negation and not worry about the Veils. The deck is just so tight already for what I want to do here. Okay, this one needs some setup, but it does have protection. Bellmire, Dark Ritual, Opposition Agent. That's actually interesting. I'm going to let them have it. I have selection that is not the fetch lands. Right, a Serac into the bin. Drawing a second fetch land there is kind of tough. City of Traders, Barrowgoyf. That's just a sprint. I'm trying to draw exactly show and tell. I would accept stock up though. Okay, there's Alluren. Now I can win if I draw a green source. There's a good chance I was just too precious about this Oppo agent, but I still just win if I draw a green source. Ooh, Ashen Rider picked up. That makes show and tell a little worse, but it just puts an Alluren, so it's fine. The Serac. Shit. I fucked up. I played out my land. Shit. I played out my land just forgetting I had City of Traders. I should have just gone to discard. Okay. In retrospect, should have forced that Oppo. It's not a card my game plan cares about, but it is a card my development cares about, and maybe that was just dumb. Okay. Going back in. I know they have Ashen Riders in their deck now. This hand is not good. I'm going to mulligan it. This doesn't do anything. I'll keep this and bottom one of the Ponders. This hand's very soft to Chalice of the Void right now. Okay. Just got a lot better. Okay, I will put Force of Will in my hand. And I'm drawing Ancient Tomb, which can cast stock up next turn. And hopefully I win the turn after that. All right. The Chalice doesn't matter anymore because Ponder is here to be pitched to stock or pitched to Force anyway. Stock up. Forest and Lotus Petal are pretty good here. Forest and Petal. That guarantees I can cast Alluren. And now I need to find myself a Serac. The One Ring. I don't think I want to play against that card. I'll force it. Misty Rainforest. I am going to fire that immediately before opposition agent is being represented. Stock up, hell yeah. Put that on top, and I'll pass. Maybe I'm supposed to play out Lotus Petal to avoid shit like Mindbreak Trap or whatever, like things that theoretically could exist in their deck. Or if they draw another Chalice and just play it on 0, because why not? Stock up. Yeah, Force of Will and a Show and Tell. These cards still don't really help. There is another Surveil land in my deck. Beseiju could blow up Chalice. Do I care about that? And if I draw Brainstorm or Ponder, I'll care about that a lot. All right, I'm going to take Force of Will and Beseiju. Forest, Petal. Now I can Beseiju and Veil of Summer on the same turn if I need to do that. Opponent has kindly blown up 2 of their own lands. They can't cast Dark Ritual or any discard spell. Traxa. Boy, I wish I had kept that Show and Tell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm missing a color. Yeah, I can't make black. All right, I can hardcast Force, though. Why did I keep this Force? Does that even make sense? I guess because I could have cast... Yeah, all right, that's in the graveyard. I could have cast the Alluren anyway. Maybe that's what I was thinking. Okay. Big draws. Brainstorm. Okay. This gives me action. So I have to decide when I'm going to take it. Because I can Beseiju Chalice now, cast Brainstorm, Veil of Summer, the Orc Army triggers. I could do that next turn also, or in the end step, and it's mostly the same thing. Yeah, if they cast a black spell on their turn, I get to draw an extra card with this sequence. Chrome Mox, pitching Shieldred, Chalice on 0. Okay, done. The Orc has me at 7. End step, Beseiju the Chalice on 1. And I guess I should go to my turn. Oh, or we just find a Serac and we're fine. We're fine. We were good the whole time. Okay, so now if I play Alluren, they could play some number of black creatures from their hand, but I have Veil of Summer and Force of Will. I take 2, 3. Yeah, I'm good. All right. Okay. That was pretty tight. There are 3 cards in hand. I don't care about Barrowgoyf. Lost mine. Off we go. And it appears to be happening. Opponent is well within their rights to make me click through this, but I'm not going to. Well, I'm going to, but I don't die to Bowmaster here, which is another reason going off with Alluren matters. The Omniscience doesn't actually win this game. Or I have the Veil, so it still works, but you know what I mean. You hear what I'm saying? Yeah, there's just no universe where this takes me 18 minutes to execute. Okay. Opponent realizes that that's not going to happen. Okay. Maybe a little too careful, a little too smart for my own good in game 2, letting the Oppo resolve. If I had 2 fetches when they cast it, I probably would have forced it, but then drawing a fetch right after it resolved instead of a normal land was a pretty big punish. But matchups like this one are just great because we're better at doing the same thing as them, which is when they accelerate out a card, it's like Chalice the Void or Barrowgoyf, and when we accelerate a card, they die.
The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here.
I'm on the play in round 2 with a hand I would only keep in the Show and Tell mirror. I'll mulligan it because I don't know that that's what's going on. This one's going to have to be fine. Keep and bottom one of the Atraxe. I think that's the plural of Atraxa. Like you go AE on the end. Atraxe. Like antennae. All right. Ponder on top of my deck. I'll keep that. City of Traders. If they go turn 1 Show and Tell and I mulligan that Alluren hand, I'm going to be on permanent life tilt. Chrome Mox. City of Traders Chrome Mox. Popular decision these days. Seasoned Dungeoneer, okay. I mean, this is something I can beat, but it is strong pressure out of the jump here. I would have actually been more worried if they pitched Seasoned Dungeoneer and played Thalia. It would appear to be against some sort of Boros initiative. I'm going to start with Brainstorm. Okay, there's an Alluren and the Acererak. That's all good news. That could get VTFO'd by Solitude out of their deck. So I'm trying to think of how things go wrong here. I could put Atraxa back and hold on to the Omniscience. So if I put back Atraxa, and I think I need the lands. Am I just all in on Alluren? The problem with Alluren versus this deck is if they flash out, if they use Alluren's ability to zoot out an Archon of Emeria or an Anointed Peacekeeper, naming Acererak, those are all things I could lose to. I wish this was just Ancestral Recall. I want to keep all the cards in my hand. This is bullshit. Does Omniscience do what I need it to do here? I have a land drop. If I hit Ancient Tomb or a City of Traders or a Lotus Petal, Alluren is good enough. Okay, I think it's Atraxa plus Omniscience that goes here. And I'll cast Ponder now. I don't have time for stocking up. I'm looking for mana. Shuffle down Boseiju. Forging onto their beater. Shit. Alright, I don't know that that card is actually beatable in the main deck. Cavern of Souls added to the hand. Just checking here. Yeah, I can't actually beat this. Like, show and tell Atraxa and just hope the 7/7 beats the other stuff they're doing is all I've really got. Alright, I will cast Brainstorm as if I have more options. Oh, that's so disappointing. Yeah, I actually do beat other cards here because I hit double plus mana. Alright, GG. Archon of Emeria, a powerful douchebag. This build is not particularly set up for this environment right now because this environment is not very common right now. Like initiative stompy style decks are just not good or commonly played in the metagame. I have 0 Otawara, Swing Truth, just nothing that could remove something like a Thalia from play. All I could do is send it and hope it's good enough. Veil of Summer, obviously not what this matchup's about. And I think I want everything that is mana. I think I want my Atraxas. I really hate the idea of bringing in Defense Grid to protect my own Alluren from their Archon of Emeria. I'm not doing that shit. It might just be a Ponder. I kind of hate going down selection in a matchup that's about speed, but if it's about speed, who has time to cast Ponder? Let's go. All right, well, this is a fast show and tell if I find something worth showing and telling. Yeah, I'm going to cast Ponder here off of basic island, just in case I get Blood Mooned. Okay, Force of Will, bridging the gap into Atraxa is some stuff I'm interested in. And I am going to play out Petal. That insulates versus Thalia, Chalice, Trinisphere, etc. Mindbreak Trap, Cavern on Archon. I wonder what card they have. All right, well, I'll just ram show and tell and hope that Atraxa beats what they have. There's the Archon. And, all right, they just can't beat Atraxa scooping it up. Sick. Took turns, putting an unbeatable permanent into play. There is a red component to their deck. We saw Basic Mountain. We saw them named Goblin with Cavern of Souls, but I don't think Hydroblast is where I want to be. Yeah, it's just the forces to try not to get locked out and Atraxa to try to win through the lock pieces. That's all we got. And this is something that could be addressed in deck build. Turn 1 stock up, potentially turn 2 Alluren. This is unfortunately just not what this matchup is about. Okay, this is what this matchup's about. I'm going to keep and bottom probably Boseiju. My plan is to force whatever they do on turn 1 and then show in Omniscience and hope my deck does anything after that point. Alright, game on. I'm looking for stock up or Atraxa or Acererak. Just anything that keeps the ball moving downhill once this Omniscience is in play. Okay, opponent kept 7. Alright, here's a Chrome Mox. I have the option to Force of Will that. If my opponent follows up with Cavern and plays Thalia, that's actually a pretty big beat. Alright, Force, pitching Consign. And now I'm hoping for some action off the top of my deck. Force of Will could be worse. I'm just going to ram this in. I assume they're going to get the initiative somehow. Okay, Omniscience. They put in a second Anointed Peacekeeper. I have created the problem I hope to create. Unfortunately, I did not immediately turn the corner. But Peacekeeper is really powerful in this spot, because if I did have Atraxa or a Serac in my hand, they could name that. Okay, Atraxa was the name. 3 cards in my opponent's hand. Can they remove Omniscience before I can protect it with Force of Will? Can they kill me before I draw any action? All reasonable questions. All right, well, I don't want to get Boomby Zoomed. I will just counter that. It's here. Come on, card draw spell. Alluren. I am not going to play that out, because my opponent can utilize that one better than me right now, potentially. We know their deck has Witch Enchanters in it. I see one under Chrome Mox right now. There are definitely outs to Omniscience here. Lotus Petal. 1 card in your hand. Is it a 4-mana initiative creator? Yeah, it is. All right. Off you go then. If they play this land, they lose their City of Traders. But this is now a lot of beats. All right, let's go. Let's do something. Find the goods. Find the goods. A Serac, Brainstorm, game. Alluren without playing its mana cost. The Serac using Alluren. That'll do. Yeah, it turns out having Omniscience in play is worth doing, even if the game's not there. If your spells are free, your top decks get better. And I needed a good top deck. I had, 1 turn to figure that out? Like this turn plus next turn. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 3. I'll keep this hand. It's got good mana and good card selection. A little bit of protection. Opponent's on a Malta 6. Polluted Delta. Swamp. My thoughts. Stinks to lose Veil of Summer like that. I mean, they'll probably take stock up, but having Veil of Summer on the draw against the Thoughtseize always feels a little bit stinky. Omniscience. Don't mind if I do. Ponder. Another Veil and some lands. I don't want any of that. Shuffle it. And I will play out Lotus Petal. That can Veil of Summer. An island. Alright, looks like we're playing against Demir Tempo. Alright. Orcish Bowmaster's in. I can bully that with Veil of Summer if I need to. Another Veil of Summer. Okay, Hedge Maze. Dump the extra Hedge Maze. Pass the turn. Ponder. I could cast a Veil just a cantrip this turn. The option is there. And I take 2. They shuffled that Ponder. Oh, we're Grixis. That's fun. There's a Tameo. And I am gonna cycle off a Veil of Summer here. Bowmaster gets to grow the army, but doesn't hurt me. Ponder. Okay. Yeah, worth it. I'll cast Ponder. My life total is a resource. Show and Tell, Alluren, and Brainstorm are all here. 1, 2, 3. Take the Show and Tell, Brainstorm on top of my deck. And I'll play out this basic forest and pass. Okay, so my plan next turn is to Show and Tell, get Omniscience into play, then see a bunch of cards and hope they win the game. Brainstorm will flip Tameo. Plus Tameo, 3 cards in hand, 2 cards in hand, and a fetch is available, or a clue is available. Flow State. It's pretty nice, and it is operational. I'd prefer not to get Thoughtseize, because that opens up the possibility of Thoughtseize plus Force. That also means I can't Veil of Summer on the turn I want to. Okay, Ancient Tomb does not shuffle my deck. I know I don't want the Alluren that's on top right now. I think I need the ability to shuffle post Brainstorm. They Show and Tell. I kind of hope they force it. Nice. Yeah, I had to do this anyway. And I don't want the card that's on top of my deck, so I can fetch here. Drop. Bonus Veil. Oh, I ended up with Allurin anyway. All right, well, if I find a Serac, that's fine, but I didn't need it. A show and tell puts in omniscience for me and nothing for you. Brainstorm, please don't fail me. Find some action. All right, Atraxa qualifies as action. Put the lands on top of my deck. Bowmaster can't hit me. Atraxa, dig, dig, dig. And they believe that's good enough. Cool. Veil of Summer, bullying a blue-black deck, as it's designed to do. Yeah, I like Veil. Carpet is probably better than Lotus Petal here. We'll probably have at least one island most of the time. Grixis Control is not a Wasteland deck. I'm not worried about Blood Moon. I don't think they'd even bring it in if they had it. I've got one more slot for one more Veil. I could just cut a Force of Will, because Veil is a 1 for 2 instead of a 2 for 1. Or the other way around, 2 for 1 instead of 1 for 2. At doing mostly the same thing. Defense Grid could also play versus this blue deck. I already have so much stuff coming in. Do they have any cards I would Force of Will? I guess the question is Defense Grid better than Force? Are they going to do anything I really need to respond to? I mean, veiling a discard spell would qualify, I guess. Making them tap out on their own turn for Bowmaster is pretty gnarly. Yeah, I'm going to try this. I'm going to go no Force of Will. All juice. All action. All right, pretty straight line to the dub here. You have Thoughtseize on 1. If I can even get to the Veil of Summer, I'll feel good. Tameo, okay. That's not Thoughtseize. We'll take it. It's getting better. Okay, the line just got even straighter to the win. Okay, I will basic Forest, because I can afford it. Veil. Cool. 2 for 1. I guess sending it next turn probably would have been better, or this turn. Yeah, I probably should have just gotten Trop there. In my head, I gave them the outside chance that maybe this is Grixis tempo with something I have to worry about, like if they have Wasteland, that suddenly becomes an issue. And I could have played around it, but I didn't have to. And that cost me the turn 2 send into the turn 3 send, just the double, pile it on. Dumped a Snapcaster Mage. Tameo is attacking me. I'll get a Hedge Maze here. What's happening? I'm getting George Wanchitong is happening. All right, so you're tapped out, but you get to draw a card. That's fine. And Atraxa, I don't need another one of those. Oh, I was about to say, what I would need is another Veil of Summer. This is what I constructed my life around here. All right. Show and tell, put in Allurin, win the game. That's the plan. You have a Force, I have a Veil. Show and tell puts in Allurin and the Serac, the Arclich. GG. GG. Yeah, this deck beats the hell out of these slow blue control decks. I mean, most decks in Legacy right now beat the hell out of slow blue control decks. These decks are not well positioned as much as I love a Beanstalk, love a Flow State. But this deck in particular, with the Veil of Summers, are just egregious. And then the second any of your spells resolve, you just win. On to the next round. I'm excited to be a special guest for the Excalibur events Niagara Falls weekend, September 25th through 27th, 2026. This event features the pre-modern scaling 25K with $10,000 guaranteed and $5,000 added to the prize pool at 275, 350, and 450 players for a total of $25,000. Gold Border and Collector's Edition cards are legal in this tournament, and you can use up to 10 playtest cards to fill out your deck. Be sure to check the FAQ on the Excalibur website to follow their playtest card policy. This has a chance of being the biggest pre-modern event ever. Sign up now and use code BOSH for $5 off entry. I hope I'll see you there. I'm on the draw for round 4. I'll keep my hand. Cantrips, mana to cast the Show and Tell. Show Omniscience should get it done. An Island, a Ponder. Very handsome. Rivals of Ixalan, basic land. It's an interesting cut. I don't know if I've ever seen a basic land from Rivals of Ixalan. Back in my day, the second set in the block didn't have its own basic lands. Like Invasion had basic lands, and then Plane Shift and Apocalypse didn't. They used Invasion's lands. But I guess Rivals of Ixalan is new enough that everybody is a standalone set. Was that even true? Was Rivals drafted with Ixalan? That wasn't a standalone draft set, was it? Weird. Uh, my history is blurring together here. I don't really know what's going on anymore. Okay, I like a cantrip here. Brainstorm and Ponder. Just kind of keep this moving. I'd like a Force of Will, but I can show and tell twice in a row and demand they have it twice. I can play on basic lands. Brainstorm. They did see this show and tell when they Mishra's bobbled me, though, so they know what I'm up to. There will be no surprises here. Okay, Brainstorm. I'm looking for Force of Will, looking for Veil of Summer. ALLURIN. ALLURIN is a third send if I find in a Serac. I don't think I want Atraxa involved here. All right, and I will dump the ALLURIN as well. I think I can do better. Ponder. There's my Force of Will. With another Ponder under it. All right, give me that Force. Pass the turn. The Island Mishra's Bauble deck has me a little suspicious. Like, that feels like a Daze deck to me. Blue-black. Kept the card. Oh, my nightmare. I'm going to let them Thoughtseize me. They probably take Omniscience because they have to, but then I just start casting stock-ups. They could take Force of Will, I guess, but that seems like a mess. My hand is just really good here. Like, I would force the Thoughtseize if this was Oslet Pride. Like, if this was Mardu Pride with Thoughtseize, I would force this Thoughtseize and just try to send next turn. But if this Force gets dazed, and then I get 2 for 1, Thoughtseize still resolves. No thanks. Operational Flow State. We'll stack that up against my stock ups here. Like, didn't take Omniscience, which is a little bit suspicious. I imagine they have Daze. Okay, well, that just resolved. Interesting. I do want more mana, and I don't think I want a second Omniscience. Do I want a Serac? I don't think I need that. If a Show and Tell puts Omniscience into play and then I can stock up and Ponder, I'll find my action. It could be second Omni in case they have a second Thoughtseize, and then at least I get to keep doing stuff. But Omni's so bad. Otherwise, all right, it's Brainstorm. I've decided. Okay, pass the turn. And I can't draw a lot of conclusions about their hand based on stock up resolving because they've seen that my hand is double Show and Tell Omniscience. They literally couldn't force, like, strategically could not force. And it's allowed in the rules, but forcing me there would have been deranged. If you know I have 2 sends at an Omniscience coming down the line. ALLURIN. Mostly in the market for Veil of Summer here. I'm going to cast Ponder. If I get Bowmaster, that taps them out, and I don't mind. Okay, a Force. Now in the tank. Okay. I'm going to send one of these. Show and Tell. My Force can pitch Brainstorm. I know Atraxa's on top of the deck. Force pitching Tameo. Force pitching Brainstorm. Force pitching Murktide. Okay. You win this fight. Pass the turn, and then I'll do it again next turn. I hope their deck doesn't have Mystic Sanctuary in it. Upkeep fetch. Not a Mystic Sanctuary. I don't want to get Thoughtseized here. If their hand is Force blue card still, then they're empty, and I still have stock up plus Alluren to keep playing on. I don't care about Kaito, Bowmaster, Murktide, any of the threats in the deck. Okay, they do have Kaito. They did a cool trick here, which is hit me with Nethergoyf and then use Kaito in the combat damage step, or the end of combat step, where it's technically still attacking, but damage is already done. And that's just because Nethergoyf is bigger. They got an extra damage through and can still do everything else they want to do here. Hey, I'm trying to fade Thoughtseize. Surveil 2, draw a card. Pretty strong. Oh, they kept one on top. Nethergoyf. All right, well, they know I have this. I'm just going to send it. Put in Omniscience. Do they have something that beats Omniscience? Cast Stock Up without paying its mana cost. Take another Stock Up and a Lotus Petal. I'm just kind of beating around the bush here a little bit because Atraxa is the most important card. All right, now I have 2 Atraxas and a Stock Up. I can basically see my whole deck. Atraxa, an instant, a sorcery, an enchantment, an artifact, a land. Put those in my hand. Play another Stock Up. All right, still haven't seen an Acererak. I'll take another Atraxa, though. Atraxa and Veil. Just going to make sure nothing can go wrong here. Fresh Atraxa. Keep them coming. There's a Serac. Okay, a Serac, Brainstorm, Lotus Petal, land, and they've had enough. A Veil of Summer, Carpet, 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 Defense Grid, Defense Grid, Defense Grid. Basically the same thing I did last round is what I'm still interested in now. Except this round I'm against a Wasteland Daze deck where my opponent was a lot clunkier last round. All right, let's go. I like the Defense Grid even more against the Daze deck than I did against the Grixis control deck. This hand is not keepable, unfortunately. Edge Maze tapped as my only land source on the draw against a Wasteland deck. Hard pass. This one's a lot better. I'll keep this, and I think it's actually Atraxa that goes to the bottom. I'll just spend some time building with my cantrips. Thoughtseize. All three of my cards are reasonable takes, depending on what's in your hand. They took the Ponder. So they're worried about me short-term changing the information. Alluren's a nice one. Tamiyo. Swamp. Okay, well, here's everything. I'll pass the turn. Now I actually have a decision of... Oh, no, I don't. There's only one forest in the deck. I don't have a decision. I could have just shoved, but instead I will stock up, protect it with Veil, and try to win on the following turn. If they can flip Tamiyo, all right, and they can, though this means I'm going to have to contend with a Thoughtseize next turn. They know I have Veil. I know they can access Thoughtseize. A lot of information is face up here. Cracking a fetch. There's still a clue here as well. Low state, operational, brutal. Okay. I guess now my best draw is Show and Tell and try to take this right now on the turn where their mana's tapped and Thoughtseize isn't in their hand yet. Show and Tell off the top. Misty Rainforest. Okay. I'm gonna stock up. I'm not shoving Alluren into Daze. That is not gonna happen. Okay, I got a backup Alluren here, and I think Brainstorm to keep looking. If my send gets collapsed here, it's like wasting my city, buy back Thoughtseize, Daze the Veil of Summer. These are all perfectly reasonable sequences that could happen out of a 6-card hand from Dimir Tempo. Brainstorm, hand just got even better. Not a Wasteland. He survived the first check. My mana does not cast Alluren with Veil protection. That is something I'm going to have to navigate here. Okay, plus the Tamiyo did not buy back the Thoughtseize. That's probably good for me. I'm going to start with a Brainstorm, and I'm not going to respond if they have a Bowmaster. Okay, I think what I'm going to do here is just cast Alluren. Because I have 2 of them, and I need to keep things moving here, I kind of feel the game condensing into a spot where I can't win it anymore. Like if that City of Traders was Ancient Tomb, I'd feel so much better, but it's not. Yeah, just Daze, disgusting. I was trying really hard to avoid that, but I don't think it was avoidable. I guess I could have just left everything where it was, but I don't get to make a land drop because of City of Traders. That was the problem. If I could have just played a land and passed there and had +1 mana for next turn, that's okay, but that's not what's going on. Cracking a clue. Right, they are buying back Thoughtseize while the coast is clear. That means the Tamiyo pressure is off. But my opponent does still have 6 cards in hand, and they can Thoughtseize me again because Tamiyo numbers line up that way. Took the Veil. Right, I'm going to Brainstorm. Okay, I can stock up here. I'm going to put back Brainstorm and Ancient Tomb, or I could Ancient Tomb to play around Daze. I'll put back Brainstorm and Trop, and then I'll fire stock up. Okay, Force Negation, Hardcast. Glad it wasn't Alluren. 5th land is Force of Will. Another Goyf. Another Goyf. Tamiyo. I imagine I'm just going to get Thoughtseized here. Yep, there goes that one. A Thoughtseize. It's got to take Alluren. And then I get to Brainstorm and hope that Atraxa underneath all of this somehow still gets it done after all that. Or Brainstorm hitting a 3rd Alluren. Wait, where'd the Brainstorm go? I stacked these the wrong way? Okay, I'm dead. All right. Yeah, I guess I assumed stock up was going to resolve and just stack that poorly. This is the same plan. Let's go. I am going to keep. This time I have the Veil of Summer on the play. insulate that first Thoughtseize, though I am quite poor against Wasteland. A Trop go. Opponent mulled to 6. All right, well, they're sending it. They could daze me back here. All right, so I probably lose stock up, but they're at least down a land. Yep, I lose the stock up. Oh, defense grid. Let's go. All right, I'm going to stick defense grid right now and be a big jerk about it. A second Thoughtseize would be pretty strong here. Put me to nothing at all. But I did just knock something like 10 cards out of their deck. Brainstorm. 2 more Brainstorms. Put back Ancient Tomb and Trop. Edge Maze. Dump the Trop. Pass. They're not going to have Cabal Therapy. I don't have to play around that. Bloodstained Mire. Hope they're not on the Hymn to Turok tech from last year. Oh my god. Black. Oh, Dothy Voidwalker. Thank Merciful Poseidon. I was about to lose my mind. Yeah, last year around Eternal Weekend time, Demir Tempo had adopted a couple copies of Hymn to Turok, which is not something I've seen in months, but would have killed me there. Atraxa and a Serac. Ugh. Well, I absolutely cannot afford for a Serac to get Thoughtseized. So I'll just play Ancient Tomb and pass. And not coming up with a shuffle on any of these Brainstorms has been pretty tough. An opponent's going to untap into 3 mana where they could force a Will Me now. This has not come together. There's a Wasteland. That's not too bad for me. And if they waste me, that means they can't force. So that's actually okay. All right. Killed my Ancient Tomb. Smartly sequenced in a way where I can't Brainstorm. And I think I'm just dead here. I have to draw a Serac and a Traxa back to back there. Maybe I was supposed to stack the Brainstorm on top. In my head, I could cast the Brainstorm, but they did have that sequence. Like, I don't really care if a Serac is gone. I care a lot if Atraxa is in the void. If they're up to 3. Crack a clue. If this Tameo flips, then Thoughtseize is online, and the Thoughtseize represents them having Atraxa. It's no good. 4 mana. So now Tameo can definitely flip this turn. Unless holding up interaction's better. Yeah. All right. Don't even have to do that. Oh, well. I guess that's a card I could draw. Do I win? Probably not. At 4 mana, there's got to be a counterspell over there. Yep. All right. Force pitching Daze. Pass the turn. That makes sense why the clues weren't cracked. But I could keep drawing hammers here. I'm down to 8. All these clues. Flow state. Okay, so they're currently tapped out of interaction. They're no longer tapped out of interaction. Another flow state. They're tapped out of interaction. Can I top deck another Alluren? That would be so nice. Alluren! No, that's the opposite of Alluren. That's a Serac. Yeah, that was my turn to do it. Now they're back up to 4 cards in hand, 4 clues they can crack. Dothy Voidwalker keeps attacking, which means they don't have Thoughtseize yet. Big draws. Carpet of Flowers. I mean, this might be huge, actually. Okay, second main, I'm going to make a shitload of black. And I'll cast a Serac. Into the Lost Mine of Bandelver, which lets me scry 1. Show and Tell to the top. I'll play a Serac again. I think I'm going to lose to this Dothy Voidwalker. Like, the Atraxa, I'm going to be at 2, so I can't Ancient Tomb. Oh, wow. Countering the second instance of a Serac is pretty nice for me. Okay. Pass the turn. You can crack a clue. Anything is possible with the power of Carpet of Flowers. Wasteland, that's way less important now. Taking out a green. Low state. All right, don't find a Thoughtseize. Let me have this one. This was such a battle. Black in the pool. No! Please be more scared of Serac. They're not more scared of a Serac. All right, so you're going to cast Atraxa here off of the Voidwalker, but a Show and Tell doesn't do anything. I can't get into the Dark Pools. Or the Dark Pool doesn't matter. The Temple matters. Yeah. 7 clues, 3 flow states. That'll do it. The third Thoughtseize finds the goods. Children's Edict is over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'll have 11 mana next turn. That doesn't cast a Serac enough. Or it does. I can draw exactly 1 card, but I'm still a mana short. Wasteland, Nethergoyf, Ponder, Brainstorm is what they took. Brainstorm flips Tameo. Not interested in the clue anymore. I think it's safe that you don't need that. And a ponder. I do get to make a treasure. Okay, so I can make a treasure along. If the second card down in my deck is Alluren, I could still win this game. Or Omniscience. Okay. Make black. A Serac. Make a treasure. Mine tunnels. Life total doesn't matter at this point. Dark pool, drain you for 1. Black, 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 draw a card. Hope it is Omniscience or Alluren. Moment of truth. Big draws for everything. Holy shit. Holy moly. All right, they could put something in off show and tell, but that's all they got. GG. Oh my god, what a battle. Sometimes you just gotta go through the dungeon fair and square. And knowing what the line was and being able to chase it, casting that one Acerak last turn to get 1 room into the dungeon. Scry 1 setting something up. Very cool. Wow. All right. I didn't think I was winning that, but we kept the faith. On to the final trophy round. The BoshNRoll channel is sponsored by Ultimate Guard. I travel all over the world playing Magic with very expensive cards. I trust Ultimate Guard products to protect the tools of my trade wherever I go. Whether you like magic art, licensed art from other worlds, entirely original art, or the simplicity of plain colors, their products have incredible range to match anyone's style. Protect your cards how I do, stay up to date with all the new releases at ultimateguard.com, and stop by the Ultimate Guard section of your local game store. I'm on the play in the final trophy round. I am going to keep this hand. It selects pretty well. Stock Up's a powerful card. I'm a show and tell or an Alluren away from sending my win. Ponder, I'll keep one of those. And I probably could safely play out this Lotus Petal without giving away any information, but I also don't see a lot of reason to have it in play. Forest, Birds of Paradise. Oh, this is probably Cradle Control. Is anyone else doing this? I'm going to Brainstorm first, because I can use Ponder to shuffle Brainstorm if I don't find a fetch, but I did find a fetch. I don't think I need 2 Aceraks here. And I have 4 mana with the Lotus Petal. This can be a Wasteland deck. I want to just make clear that I am aware of that as I continue to ignore it. These cards don't help me. I'm going to shuffle them. I'm looking for Show and Tell or Alluren. Shuffle, found a Forest. Every turn this game goes, it gets worse for me. This is a matchup where I want to be fast. Yeah, my opponent is capable of a lot starting next turn. I would like to draw one of my bangers right now off the top. That's not it. Okay, I'm going to cast Stock Up and hope it's not too late next turn. I saw a lot of cards in my first 2 turns. I still haven't found a good card. I'll take Force of Will and Atraxa, I guess. And if I find Show and Tell and put in the Omniscience, the Atraxa is pretty likely to find where it needs to go. Because my opponent now can White of the Reliquary, get Talongates of Madara, phase out Acerak, and then I don't have that loop available anymore. But if I can Atraxa my way into more interaction, got a second cub. Am I just dead now? I could at least force a natural order if they go nuts on me there. So each of the Cradle and the Bird tap for 2 extra, and the Cradle counts itself 2. And another white. That's not my battle. I think we're going to get attacked for 2 here. Oh yeah, the cub is still in play too. Attack for 4. Cradle's getting in. Okay. Well, they don't have spells. They have tricks. What do you say, deck? Can we have a useful one? No chance. Absolutely no chance. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10 damage. If they sacrifice anything, it's more. All right, I'm going to play Flooded Strand and Lotus Petal, and I'll pass the turn. I could hard cast a Force here if I need to. All right, dumped Bird of Paradise to get the extra damage in. If they get Bossing, say, does that kill me? They're very close to just having lethal damage on the board. Dryad Arbor. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so I can't crack this fetch land. Or, no, they attack with everything, sack any creature, and I'm dead. This is exactly 14. Yeah, that's that show and tell fail rate. This is always in the range of the deck. Sometimes you have games like the end of last round where I just spend all of my mana exactly to spike the win on the last turn. And sometimes you look at 3, 6, 11, plus it's turn 4, 15 cards, and a surveil, 16 cards, and don't see anything that helps. Huff for 8. Okay, they did tap a creature to do that. All right, I'm still dead, but I am going to at least cast my Force of Will in case they somehow miss that I'm dead. Force that. That means I can't get my Hedge Maze. Yeah, they can attack for exactly 13 on the board right now. Or no, they have 2 whites. They can do a lot more than 13. Or no, they'd have to sack a 2/2, which is at sacking a 1/1 is net positive damage. Sacking a 2/2 is neutral damage. Sacking the forest or the cradle don't matter because they're not creatures and won't go to the graveyard. Yeah, they could kill me by sacking Dryad Arbor. Ooh, they tap Dryad Arbor instead. Endurance. Is that the same thing? Targeted themselves, making their whites smaller. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so they could still have a lethal attack here, but they did it in the weirdest, most convoluted way when they could have just attacked with what they already had. All right, let's see what happens here. Sacking Dryad Arbor is the correct one. Maybe they'll Bajuka Bog themselves again. Bossing Say. Okay, they figured it out. Weird. Bajuka Bog, target you, target you, target you, target you. All right, they targeted me. Weird. All right. And that is 13 damage. Okay, Cradle Control is what we're up against. Their interaction is going to be things like Thoughtseize and maybe Force of Vigor. I like Veil of Summer just fine. I don't like Force of Willing this deck. That never feels worth doing. Their various lands have triggered abilities, but I think I'm just going to go Veil of Summer and try to send it. Yeah, that last game I just missed. And when the white was open, Alluren would not have beat them. But if they tap the white, I can win at any time. Okay, yeah, maybe, like, it probably would have been cast Alluren past the turn, is the line, and then if they tap white for anything other than... If they don't leave up white, I Acererak in response. I'm trying to decide if I need 4 Aceraks here, if I could get one more Force of Will in. Do I need all my Lotus Petals? But going fast is part of my range. I kind of want another Force, but I also don't want to cut any of the other cards. It's a tough spot to be in. All right, it's too late now. I'll go first. 2 Allurens and a reasonable path to cast them. Show and Tell or Acererak are good finds. I will keep. So Show and Tell, Acererak, any cantrip that help find those things are all good things to find. And I am going to play out Lotus Petal, because if they Thoughtseize me, that's a meaningfully different card than the other stuff I have going on they could take. Bayou, Thoughtseize, yep. No chance to have one of my 4 Veil of Summers here. If they're on, like, the Thoughtseize plus Surgical, they could take a second Alluren and cut a whole plan out of my deck. I don't necessarily like that as a plan, but it is something they could do. I don't think you take Atraxa if Surgical is what you have. I'll get Hedge Maze. I don't need a Tropical Island. Ponder, let's go. Opponent still has perfect info. Acererak the Arclich. I do like that guy. I'm going to hide Acererak on top of the deck and pass the turn. Oh, I'm Thoughtseize proof here. I am not Force of Vigor proof. Wasteland. Birds of Paradise. Yeah, I don't think this was stackable in the other way. There's a Lotus Petal under Acererak here. Yeah, they saw me keep the Ponder. So that Wasteland was a good call. And now Thoughtseize is live again. I do also have to be aware that my opponent's deck is full of creatures that cost 3 or less. Well, Alluren's probably pretty good for them. I just need it to be way better for me. Badgermole Cub. Wakes up Bayou. Bird taps for 2 now. Yeah, Boseiju is a thing they could have. Okay, Lotus Petal. They know what time it is. I will get Basic Forest because I'm about to delete half my mana sources. Alluren and pass. All right, Fleshed and Grist. All right, I will Acererak now. I was trying to get them to Boseiju proactively. They didn't fall for it. Flash and Quirion Ranger. Okay, I hope that doesn't actually do anything. Scary if true. Okay, a Serac. And if this gets dismembered, I couldn't have played around that. If they have Boseiju, I can't play around that. They did just untap with a bunch more mana than they had a moment ago. Okay, Talon Gates. I could have played around that. Okay. I'm going to go into the Lost Mine, and I'm going to end up with an Acererak in play. Show and Tell. I actually don't want that anymore. Whenever Acererak attacks for each opponent, I create a 2/2 black zombie creature token unless that player sacrifices a creature of their choice. Okay, that's not even good. They're going to sacrifice the Grist insect and then minus to kill Acererak, and I've not gone where I need to go. So I identified Boseiju. I guess the problem is in the end step, my opponent gets the last priority, where I was trying to get cards out of their hand, like pass with Alluren. They flash something out. I pass priority. They flash something out, and then when they have the least options and I have the most information, I go for it. But if I pass priority and they also pass priority, it just doesn't work. Another Acererak, easy game. Veil of Summer. That actually does help a lot. All right, I will attack Grist the Hunger Tide, and my opponent will probably sack an insect, which they did get 2 of because they milled Spring Heart and Antuco randomly. Yep. And this is a dungeon, not the initiative, so I don't tick forward, and I also don't lose it unless I do anything to make it happen. Okay, another bug down. Bayou from hand. It would be sick if they have an actual black removal spell. Oh no, are they casting Creative of Behemoth? What's happening here? Oh, they're casting Atraxa. All right, that's pretty good. But that is a black spell that turns on Veil of Summer, and I do have top decks that win the game. Force of Vigor, pain in my ass. Okay, I think I've lost this one. And the lesson might just be send it when you got it. I did call out Talon Gates as a card they could have, which they couldn't have at the time I played Alluren. I also called out Force of Vigor, which is a card they could have anytime. Grist. Okay, my opponent took Zenith, Force, Catacombs, and White. All right, you may sacrifice a creature. Go ahead and do that. When you do, now this targets Acererak. Veil of Summer, which does draw a card. If this draws another Acererak, I actually win, and they can't Force a Vigor. Bummer. Okay, Acererak lives, but it does not beat Atraxa on the battlefield. It's impressive to me how bad Acererak is as a creature. Like, why would anyone complete this quest? This creature's not even good when you do it. Why would you ever go into the Tomb of Annihilation? It doesn't make sense. White of the Rel. And the extra sad thing is it doesn't even matter. Like, if my opponent doesn't Force a Vigor right away, it doesn't even matter if I draw another Acererak. Okay, they are just ripping that off right now in the main phase for the hard mode. But they could just wait until I find another Acererak and kill that at any point, and it's not something I can really play around. And oh, life is pain. Hardcast Atraxa for the win. The second Acererak was here. All right, I'm going to pass the turn. They can Zenith for Hoof now, and I'm dead. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, I'm dead to a combat, and to Hoof, and to everything. Okay, Bajuka Bog. From hand, my graveyard's gone. If they somehow fail to generate a lethal attack here, like they don't Zenith, or they don't Zoot out my Acererak, or they don't Grist to kill my Acererak, like I could top deck any land and present another win, but I just don't think I'm getting a turn. Okay, yep. This is a Zenith. Oh, this is for 6. That's not 8. That's a different number. Alpha Deathclaw. That kills Acererak. One of 1,000 ways this could have done. Is this any permanent? Oh, yeah, they could blow up my lands. All right. I'm not coming back if my lands are destroyed. Okay. Yeah, I tried to get clever, but maybe there was not actually anything clever to do there, and I was just supposed to send it. Okay, a 4-1 result with this deck that I haven't played in a few months, but I still like, and it turns out I still like it. It is pretty one-track. There's not a secondary thing. There's no sideboard juke. You have to execute on showing and or telling and or alluring. And if your opponent has those things covered by, like Archon of Emeria, this current build has no outs to that. But you could build your deck to include those instead, if your metagame calls for it. We do, of course, still have the show and tell fail rate. like that game 1 in round 5 where I had a handful of Bs and looked at almost 20 cards without seeing an A. It happens. And then there's the Alluren issue as well, where there are other decks in the format with 3-drops that you don't want them to flash in. Like, the possibility of me resolving an Alluren, then my opponent flashing an Archon of Emeria is a beating. Or versus Death and Taxes, they can have, like, Recruiter for something else that, for Flicker Wisp, that deletes the Alluren until end of the next turn or whenever, and then they could plow your Serac while that's gone. And there are weak spots to this deck, exploitable spots, if you know what you're up against. If Eternal Weekend were tomorrow, and I'm recording this with the August 10th ban update imminent, I don't know if this is going to come out before or after that update. I think it's before, but I don't know that this is going to be the Eternal Weekend metagame. But like this or some sort of blue-white Felia, something or other, are the decks that I'm serious about. But I hope you all forget I said this because I don't like the mirror match. I'm going to leave this one here. This was Sultai Aluren-Tell. See you next time.